Hello there, Kappolo here. Welcome to Flesh and Blood. This video is meant for you as a new player to learn how to play Flesh and Blood through this tool of Felt Table. We are going to play with the Learn to Play scenario, and going through it you will have a better understanding and grasp of the game, so that you will have a base to play further in Flesh and Blood and try out different decks and different heroes. In this Learn to Play mode, we have a narrator that explains us how to go through various turns, various steps. So follow along with the narrator, and then in the end the game let us play for a bit. So I'll finish up the tutorial by playing and explaining my plays. Let's jump into it. We are going to be playing with the classic battles Reiner versus Dorinthia. Let's go!
Hi, I'm Bravo, your mentor today. Welcome to Flesh and Blood, a head-to-head card game where you take the role of a hero. To win the game, you must reduce your opponent's life total to 0 by attacking your opponent with weapons and attack cards. All the while, your opponent will be trying to do the same to you. Your opponent's life is shown on their hero card. Your health is shown on your own hero card. Your hero starts the game with weapons and equipment in play. Weapons can be used to attack the opposing hero. Equipment can be used to defend or to trigger abilities for a game effect. This is your action point counter. On your turn, you gain 1 action point. You can use action points to play action cards from your hand or to trigger action abilities from cards in your play area. Let's start by playing a card from hand. In order to play a card, you need to pay its cost, located in the top right of the card. In this case, the cost is 1. In order to pay this cost, you can pitch a card from hand that generates the same number of resources or more. The number of resources a card generates is shown in the top left by the number of resource symbols present and is also color-coded. In this case, this blue titanium bauble will generate 3 resources when pitched. Go ahead and play the end guard and pitch the titanium bauble.
So now we went a bit through the how to play the game, to play for the cards. So we're gonna play the end guard and pitch the titanium bubble as requested to play it.
End guard generates an effect that gives your next weapon attack plus 3 power. You can review what active game effects there are by hovering over the card icon in your effect area. Go ahead and do so now. You'll also notice that the card has Go Again. Go Again will replenish an action point when the card has resolved. This means you will be able to play or trigger another card this turn, and allows you to extend your turn beyond just playing or triggering a single card. That's why you have 1 action point now instead of 0. You'll also notice that pitching the titanium bauble generated 3 resources, yet end guard only needed 1. The leftover 2 resources are not lost but can be used to play or trigger another card. The number of remaining resources left is denoted in the pitch area shown here. With our 1 action point now, we can now try and attack our opponent. Go ahead and swing your Dawnblade sword.
So Dawnblade costs 1 resource, we have 2, so we can use 1 resource to attack.
Attacking with a weapon will initiate combat. In Flesh and Blood, all combat takes place in what is called the combat chain. During the combat chain, your opponent will have the opportunity to defend, and both players will also have the ability to play reaction cards. Since you could attack multiple times in a combat chain if your attack has Go Again, or if you have multiple action points to spend, each attack you do is called a chain link. This would be chain link 1. Let's go through the steps of a combat chain now. The first step is the attack step, where the attacking card is resolved and is officially attacking. Since we have already declared our attack, let's move on to the next step. The second step is the defense step, where the defending player has an opportunity to defend with either a card from hand or with their equipment. Let's see what Reiner does. Here, Reiner has defended with 2 cards out of hand for a total of 6 defense, thus stopping our attack. The defense value of a card is in the bottom right corner. Defending with cards costs nothing, and so Reiner does not need to pay for it, other than losing the opportunity to play the cards for their effect on their turn. Let's move on to the next step. The third step is the reaction step, where players can play attack and defense reactions. Since you're the attacker, you are eligible to play any attack reactions that you may have, and it looks like you have one. Go ahead and play the thrust.
Yeah, we have attack reactions and defense reactions. So we are going to play an attack reaction to pump our sword.
Notice how you didn't have to pitch to pay for the card, since you had a leftover resource from pitching the titanium bauble at the start of the turn. When you play an attack reaction, it sits on the resolution stack. This allows for your opponent to play a card in response. Let's see what Reinar does. I got nothing. The thrust will auto-resolve since you don't have anything else you can play at this time. The thrust added +3 power to your sword attack. Congratulations, you are now winning the combat chain 8 power to 6 defense. Since you have no more attack reactions, let's move on to the next step. The last step is the damage step. Here, we calculate the amount of damage being done and apply that damage to the hero. Since we are winning by 2 power, we will deal 2 damage to Reinar. That ends the combat chain. Since we have no more action points, we will need to pass our turn. Go ahead and pass to close the combat chain. All cards that were on the combat chain go into your graveyard at the end of a combat chain. This means that over the course of a game, the number of cards in your deck will slowly dwindle. Be mindful of how many cards you use, since when you use all of the cards in your deck, you will have no more cards left to draw. Since you have nothing left to do, go ahead and pass your turn. Before our turn ends, we have an opportunity to add a card to our arsenal, which is the zone below the hero card. The arsenal is an extra card slot that we can utilize to play cards out of. Note that you cannot defend with or pitch a card in your arsenal. Let's go ahead and put the remaining defense reaction from our hand into the arsenal. This allows us to save that card for a future turn. At the end of your turn, all cards that were in your pitch zone go to the bottom of your deck at the end of the turn. Let's do that now. This allows for those cards to be drawn again later in the game. You always draw back up to your hero's intellect value at the end of your turn, which is the blue number in the bottom left corner of the hero card. Note that for the first turn only, the defending player will also draw back up to a full hand. And that ends your turn. Now, Reinar has the opportunity to attack you while you are on the defense. Let's see what Reinar does. Here, we can see that Reinar has played a Clearing Bellow. The card triggers an effect called Intimidate that forces us to temporarily banish a random card until the end of the turn. This effectively leaves you 1 card short to be used on the defense. Cards that are banished go to your banish zone underneath your deck.
Been intimidated again, so another card at random.
Well, we lose another card here because of the printed Intimidate effect of Smash Instinct. It's not looking good. Fortunately, we have some tricks up our sleeve. First, let's block with Blade Flash. Next, Reinar has an opportunity to play attack reactions. Still nothing. Perfect. Now's our chance to play that defense reaction. We could pitch the titanium bauble in our hand to play our Toughen Up that we have in our arsenal. Go ahead and do so now. We've successfully covered up the attack and have taken no damage. This ends Reinar's turn since he has no more action points and didn't play anything with Go Again. Remember that at the end of the turn, the cards that were banished are returned to your hand. Notice how at the start of the turn, you only have 2 cards in hand now. Remember that you only draw cards at the end of your turn and not the opposing hero's turn. This is the push and pull of Flesh and Blood. The more cards you utilize on the defense, the less cards you have to use on the offense. Learning when to hold cards back on the defense in order to swing harder on your next turn is key to becoming a stronger player. But that's a lesson for another time. Congratulations! You now know the basics of Flesh and Blood. Feel free to play through the rest of the game to see if you can take down Reinhardt. Or, if at any time you are done, feel free to click the quit button below. Good luck!
So we have an option of play on Knife's Edge and attack with this twice, or play Flock, revealing on Knife's Edge and paying with the Blossom of Spring. Because we need a one resource for this and we need to reveal this. Let's try this. Let's get a resource. We play Flock and reveal this. So Flock gives us a quicken token, which we can use to attack with the sword again. Now the turn is over. As we see, we have 0 action points because Flock did not have go again. So we just pass and put the Knife Edge in the arsenal. So they are attacking for 6. And now in Flesh and Blood you need to think what you're gonna do in the next turn in order to decide on how to block. They don't have any more action points, so this is 6. My next idea next turn is to play Knife's Edge, so we can attack with the sword twice. But we don't need because we have the quicken token. So I think the idea is to break Gallantry Gold so we can our sword is more powerful. And then use all of our powerful cards in attack. So let's just pass. Let's block with this and leave Iron Rod to block maybe next turn. We need the Sigil for resources, because we need to break this and attack twice. So we pass, we go to the end of turn. So here we destroy this, that gives your weapon attacks +1 this turn. We break this and we pitch the Sigil of Solace. So our weapon attacks for 1 more. I'll then play a Sharpen Steel. That our weapons gain +3. And we attack with this as go again from the Quicken. They do not block. So this work only when they block, because it's the reprise effect that if they defend they get +3. So hope they defend and we can like do a lot of damage. They defend with the Brute Mentor. Now our reprise is active, so we can play our Iron Song response and our Iron Sun response. So it's giving a +6 to the weapon. And we hit for 7. So Reinhardt is at 3, which is good. Because for Dorinthia, the combat tricks that you have to pump the sword are usually 3 damage. So they're attacking for 6. We have Intimidate, so we lose a card. So 6 would go again. 6 is not lethal. So let's pass. Let's try to be on the aggressive side. And this is another 6. It's still not lethal, but I think I'm gonna put my equipment in front. And then we'll figure out our turn afterwards. We just need to deal 3 damage, and I think we have more than 3 damage. Okay, now let's read our cards. So in the swing gives your second attack or second, third or attack +3 without any reprise. Sharpen Steel gives +3. This gives your next Dawnblade go again, and if it hits +1 counter, and then we have Run Through. We need 2 resources to attack with the sword twice, so 2 resources can come from here or from here. And I think the plan for this turn is to play on a nice edge to give this go again, play Sharpen Steel, and then play this second attack. We will use these 2 resources and we will arsenal this card, because we don't have enough resources to do everything. So we play on nice edge. We play the Sharpen Steel. And then we attack pitch in the run through. We're attacking for 5, they are at 3. They do block for 5, let's see if we can hit them with a combat trick this time around. So they block for 3, our 3, so in the swing we'll kill them. Let's do it. And just like that, we won! This was the tutorial. If you like new Flesh and Blood, hopefully you were able to follow along on what was going on. Few cool things about this Felt Table website that I want to mention is that they have some campaigns. If you have premium, you can play sealed or draft. But another thing you can do, once you start to get into the game, you go to the quick match, you play against AI, and you have here like several decks you can try out. You have various Blitz starter decks. The Blitz is the fast format that is only 40 cards. Or you have some CC decks if you want to try CC. So it's like similar to the one we play with Reiner. So let's say that we want to play Dash. You can see the deck list here. So you're familiar with the deck as select for player 1. And like I recommend to use this HP1 deck that's been history pack, which has been curated quite recently for it. And maybe we can play that the second player is Kano. And then you can decide if you want to start or if your opponent wants to start. You can use digital play mode, you play only on the website, or hybrid, which you can play with your own cards. You can shuffle up and kind of match up in the website what you're doing in paper. And then you have like various mode, like the AI does not attack, the AI doesn't block, nightmare mode and normal mode. Yeah, this is just jump into the game. And it's like similar to the one we saw with Reiner against Dorinthia, but with different heroes, and the heroes are playing for themselves. I mean, the AI is playing for themselves, and then you play on your side and have fun, and like you can experiment with various decks as we are seeing here. So it's quite good for this reason if you want to test out some of the decks. You can also add decks. I think there are some cards that are like unsupported, but overall you can just like grab a deck from Fabry or FabDB and just try out the decks, try out the various heroes, see which heroes like you like the playstyle more, and then once you get the feeling on which hero you like, you can probably buy the cards in paper, go to a local armory to play Blitz or CC. And if you want to play in an event at one store near to you, you can go to the fabtcg.com website, go to locator and like find a store. And let's look for San Diego, for example. Here you can see stores that have support for Flesh and Blood. Some of the stores do not actually, so please verify if they do. But if you scroll and you see this diamond, means that the tournament has upcoming tournaments. So just go to the details and then you can see what events they are. And if you like a classic constructed deck, you can just join an armory event for classic constructed, or if they have blitz or booster draft, whatever event you like after you get a bit familiar with the game. With this said, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great time learning about the game of Flesh and Blood, and you will stick around. If you don't mind, please click the like button, subscribe. I do Flesh and Blood content for beginner players and also more advanced, mainly specializing in the Dash hero. But thanks again for watching. Bye bye.